Oh, I've got my back doors open. You want to see my view quickly?
We're live.
We're on.
Yes, we want to see your view. No. Show us the view. Show us the view.
Another
We can still see it.
castle near the castle. And sorry,
Oh,
mosquito
look at
net.
that.
Can't push the door open, but isn't that pretty?
Oh, the
And
space.
the birdies.
Really beautiful.
Hello.
I'm living with all my doors. Sorry, go on. Hi, people.
Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Ladies' Lounge from Italy this morning. If you've just joined us and we're seeing that gorgeous view, we're with Lady Moira. And of course, the lovely Tiffany Brown and my vivacious self, Viv Adcock. And thank you for joining us. And today we want to talk about a whole range of things. But without further ado, we were just having a chat beforehand about what the heck is being money? Like, what does that even mean? You know, if you've done anything with the tools of access consciousness, you'll have heard that phrase, the How to Become Money workbook, or how do you be money, or being money. So we have one of my most inspirational beings on the face of this planet with us, the lovely Lady Moira. So, Tiff, do you want to ask Moira a question to begin with?
I have lots of questions. But yeah, I think as well, you know, we've been talking a lot about money in the Ladies' Lounge over the last few weeks. And, you know, we've talked about one of the keys to changing your money situation is being able to be money. And I think that is something that goes beyond our mind. It goes beyond our ability to figure out what that is. And so, you know, we wanted to talk to Moira about that because, Moira, you came from not having money and not being money to, you know, really moving into being money. And that was even before you came across the tools of access consciousness. Is that correct?
Yeah. It was from desperation, to be honest. I lived with a lot of poverty, and I lived in a cold country in Scotland, and I used to walk 4K to school and 4K home, and we didn't have enough money for the bus fare. So, and also I think probably twice in my life I was bought a new pair of shoes. So my sister was 18 months older than me, and I used to get her shoes when they didn't fit her anymore. And in the winter, oftentimes they had holes in the soles, and the snow was deep. And I used to walk to school with plastic bags on my feet. And I would get to school and I would take them off, my shoes off and the plastic bags, so I had dry socks. And I'd put my shoes on the radiator, and I used to do my best to hide this. And I had insufficient, like I didn't have a proper jacket. I had bare legs. I mean, it was like, no exaggeration, it was not fun. So I had to ask for money. And growing up, I so desired what it gives to your body having money. I desired that. I mean, I used to get into sheets and they were freezing and damp. The ice was on the inside of my bedroom window. And I used to lie there in bed, freezing, trying to get rid of the, you know, heat up enough and like desiring the dampness to leave. It took me a long time to get to sleep when I went to bed. I used to hate going to the bath. There was only one fire in the house. We had no radiators. So when I left the sitting area where we burned coal, and actually if you watch Coal Miner's Daughter, that was pretty much my life. I lived in this old mining village, and there was an air of hopelessness, still is. And it was created around the mines, you know, and then when the mines closed, holy shit, everybody took to alcohol and wife beating and all sorts. Anyway. So that's where I came from. So I was like, I ain't not having money. Is that English? I'm not having money.
I ain't not having money. This is not happening. No money is not happening in my life. Yeah. And thank you, because, you know, when you're talking about that, you know, you were saying that the situation that you chose, the situation that you were born in, that you grew up in, created this desire for something different. And it made me realize that I have lived a very comfortable life, and I've had to learn how to desire things because my life has been so comfortable that I'm like, oh, I could actually have more yeah, so it's interesting that, you know, you created this situation for yourself to be in this lifestyle where you were like, nah, this is not good enough for me.
Yeah. But when you say that, there's a paradox there, isn't there? I mean, like, I lived this comfortable life, so it was an effort to desire more. But we're all brainwashed to the level that we're brainwashed at is, well, you have enough, you don't actually need any more. But I didn't have enough, you know. But I hear you, because, I mean, in your family, you were given, your needs were met, but were you allowed to be hedonistic? Because it's
No.
around things, energies as well, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean, it wasn't anything that I was invited to. You know, it wasn't something that anyone around me was sort of desiring or anything either. So I wasn't invited to that as a possibility, I guess.
So either way, it's a brainwashing and what's possible and what's allowed. What's frivolous, what's hedonistic, what's decadent, what's unnecessary, what's enough.
I remember having a conversation with you one day, Moira, and I was talking, so I grew up in England, Moira was growing up in Scotland, and I said something about, you know, we had pudding for lunch, or we had, you know, cake on the table, and Moira goes, my God, you must have been rich. And I went, what do you mean? It was just a piece of cake from the local supermarket. And she said, you must have been really rich to be able to have cake, because that, you know, for you, it was, you were lucky to have food on the table, let alone the luxury of just a cake.
Yeah, we did not get cake.
You know, I mean, how much do we take for granted, and we don't think that we're rich when we actually are rich? We are wealthy with the choices that we've made. So sorry, Tiff, I cut you off.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I've just come back from India, you know, so me being in India, I'm like, wow, I am really wealthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are some things with going to India where, you know, traveling economy, I'm like, you know what, this doesn't work this is not me.
Yeah.
I would like greater and better than this.
Yeah.
I would like to be able to comfortably lie down and sleep on a long plane ride.
Yeah.
So those desires are starting to things that but again, I've had to like consciously choose to desire more.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If you don't have that ask in your world, that like, oh my God, this would be lovely. Oh my God, I really would love this. Then you don't have, why ask for money? Why be money? There's no incentive there to, and this is what I find when I do the How to Become Money workbook with people. I'm getting people to a space of allowing themselves to desire something, to go, wow, I would love a new car, or wow, because it's always like, first comes, well, I can't, which creates your reality. I don't know how to create, you know. And then secondly is, oh, I don't need it anyway. So there's always that denial of, I don't really need it, you know. So it's fine. I'll just settle for what I have. And there's so much in that, because it literally comes down to, and it's a concept of this reality, self-worth. It's like you entrain to what you're worthy of having and being. And being money is, you never make yourself less than money or money greater than you. And you add it. There is no separation between you and it. It's like, oh yeah, you know, if do you mind if I say something, talk about something personal, Tiff? Were you, Di?
No, not at all.
I think it was it Langkawi? It was Langkawi.
It was Langkawi.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
This is the thing. It's not about money. It's about receiving, because I think I gave you $50. We were having lunch and I said, here, I gifted $50. And you went, no. And I'm like, okay, well, I gave you, we played a game. What if I gave you less? And I gave you less and less. And then it came down to a leaf. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
And I handed you the leaf and I said, can you receive the leaf? And you looked at me and went, just, and kind of.
Wow.
Where you marry it up to, you want something in return as well. That's a big part of, so everything this brings up, sorry, it's just brought up a little bit of energy. Destroy and uncreate it.
Yeah.
Right, wrong and bad, all mine, podbox, shorts, boys, podbacks and beyonds. So it is nothing to do with money or things. It literally is about receiving.
And that was such a brilliant little, invitation to something different, and a brilliant exercise, because it was out of the blue. You were just like, bang. And I was like, really? That was the energy. I was like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah.
And what am I going to have to do or be, or, that maybe I can't, or I'm not willing to, for you, because you're giving me money for no reason, and all of these things that come up that again, we're conditioned into not receiving with ease.
Yeah. But what
I was just going to say, that whole transactional, because we're completely entrained that everything with money is transactional, and it totally distracts you from ever truly being the energy that brings and invites and seduces money into your world, and wealth and riches and all of that stuff, because you're constantly chasing after this illusion, thinking that it's something, thinking that if there is this exchange rate going on, then, okay, well, I've done this, therefore I deserve, or I expect this in return. And it takes you further and further and further away from the actual magic of being it that actually creates it with effortlessness.
Yeah.
And I remember Gary acknowledging you, Moira, for being money. It was the first time he'd ever, I hadn't even come across this concept before. And he said, oh yeah, well, Moira just bees money. She is money. And I'm like, what? What does that even mean? And you're like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Because often you don't know what you're being, but when somebody points it out, it's like, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
the same as you pointed out. Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, can you talk about how you grew into that, stepped into it, owned it, acknowledged it, claimed it, and now are really having fun playing with that and turning it up more?
Yeah. It was different bits, to be honest. I mean, when he also acknowledged that in my marriage, I was the person behind the money. I was the one bringing the money in. I'm like, and I always had mud to myself down as stupid and I'd not be able to create. And this is another thing that, what's brilliant about the How to Become Money workbook. I didn't see myself as a creator, or I didn't see the 4 elements. I didn't see myself as awareness, control, creativity, and creativity, and allowance. I didn't, and it was bits. It came in bits. So I was like, wow, if I'm the person bringing money in, what am I being that brings money in? And I didn't get that it was money. It was that, like, I would like more and more. And I never had guilt ever. And I never had a point of view. He also said to me, you're the first person I ever met that doesn't have a point of view about money. And I was like, oh, that really? And I've looked around since and gone, holy shit, everybody has a point of view about money, and got myself lost in it for a while as well. But when you have a point of view,
in looking for all the points of view about money that you don't have.
Literally, honestly, truly. So,
wow.
So it's about. Sorry, what was the question, Bev?
Well, I gave you about 4 or 5. It was basically, how did you grow into or step into and embody being, when you said, well, what am I being that's creating money? How, I don't know if there is even a how, but what did you choose? What were you aware of?
Yeah, when you acknowledge something, I'm aware of a little lizard in the door and it's a little breeze, and if it shuts, it's going to get squished. Oh, well, has to be aware. Come to my back door for blueberries, and they sit there and when they wait on blueberries, it's so cute. Anyway, sorry, distraction. I have pet lizards. And when you start to acknowledge even the tiniest thing, like, for example, somebody recently in my life came to visit for a while, and we talked a lot about how she was abusing her body, and I took her to this dress shop that I found in Torino that makes clothes for you. And she's been asking for new clients to show up with her business. And as soon as she started to do yoga a little bit, sorry, ADHD's gone off like, whoa. She starts to do 20 minutes, half an hour yoga when she wakes up now. It's a gentle wake up for her body. And she started to eat better when she was with me, and we traveled. And then I took her to this dress shop, and she spent more than she's ever spent to have this dress made. And it was 833 euros. And as soon as she bought that dress, boom, 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 she got 3 new clients. She had been waiting on clients coming for a long time and they weren't showing up. And then when this occurred, boom, she got, So it's that receiving of her and her body, and just you up your receiving, or you acknowledge something, and then you're. It's like you open up as a magnet to, well, this is what I'm being now, universe, and the universe will always respond to the energy you be, not what you're wishing for or thinking about or what's coming out your mouth. It's the energy that you be.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? So you know, because we started talking about desire, and now you're talking about the energy that you be, and you said that the universe doesn't respond to your desires; it responds to the energy that you choose to be. So can you?
Yeah, that desire tip. You know, when you met Soul, you had an ask in your world, and it's 90% of it is not cognitive. So you were being an energy that attracted soul. Your soul has very specific elements of being that you were asking for. You didn't go, I wish, I want, blah, blah. It's boom, you know? So everything that's occurring in you guys' lives, I'm talking about everybody that's listening, it's not what you're thinking or what you're saying, it's what the energy that you be in your world. And we live in denial most of the time. I asked for my partner to show up, who is a genius with business, and I thought in the beginning had no points of view but money, but he couldn't have too much of it. But when I met him, I had an ask in my world for these beginning elements of money that were going to teach me. But I also had the familiarity. Now, this is what shows up for us all. If we have something in our world that's familiar, if we're not asking for something other than that, we get that. So I was asking for somebody like my dad, but somebody who I could teach to, who I could train like a dog to be more caring, receive me, and somebody who definitely was willing to have and create money. But what I got was a lot of the characteristics that my father was. I got somebody who had a problem with alcohol. I got somebody who was a compulsive gambler. I got all of the things that I didn't not ask for, but I didn't think I was asking for. So much as in your words, all of you, that's an ask that you're not aware is an ask. Everything that brings up, destroy and uncreate it. Right? Shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. So it's the energy you be.
And when you look at that, like, how much have we misapplied and misidentified and assumed that money is? So if we assume money is this, and we're being that, sorry, I forgot to turn off my notifications. That's exactly what we're creating. So if you're getting frustrated with what your current financial monetary situation is, or your financial situation, it's like, okay, so what am I being that's creating this? Not from judgment or wrongness, but the acknowledgement and what you were saying to both of you. It's like, well, what do I really truly desire? If I could just tear this entire script up that I've been living by with money or finances and completely write a brand new one with no limitations, that anything is possible and you can reach for as far as you can reach, what could show up? But it's the being that.
The thing is, money is part of everybody. It's part of you, whether you want to know it or not. It's only your barriers up to it that you tell yourself, I'm talking to everybody, that it's not. It's like you're part of the earth. Most people don't choose to engage and receive from the earth and contribute to it, but you're part of it, whether you want to know it or not. It's only the barriers up to it that you're not. So you're constantly living in denying your very being when you're denying money or you're denying the planet. And that's go on.
I was just going to say that's a great example to talk about, because for how many people do they have more of a sense of connection and gifting and receiving with the earth? But then when it comes to something like money, they won't, or they've decided that it's bad, they can't, they won't, they don't know how to. But I think that's one of the many beautiful things about the How to Become Money workbook is it not only shows you, but it invites you to practice receiving.
It's a workbook.
It's
an
awesome.
uncomfortable workbook.
What did you say?
For most people, it's a very uncomfortable workbook.
Yeah.
Because it's about how you're being, and then you can be money. But people have the idea that I'm going to do the How to Become More Money workbook to get money. Money is the byproduct of having you. I mean, and the other confusion is, and I just want to say this because many people get confused by it. Well, how come people like, the Donald Trumps of this world have got shit tons of it, like Putin, etc.? And it's because all their energy is on money and power. Even although that's false, that's a concept of this reality, and it has an end, and that's all they're interested in is that where it's going to take them. They're just constantly being that energy all the time. More money, more power, more money, more power, more money, more power. Their question, the function from is, how can I get more money and have more power? How can I get more money and have more control?
And isn't that amazing? Because, money doesn't discriminate. It's not about being a good being or being a right being or making sure you're doing the right and good thing in the world. It's recognizing that money doesn't discriminate, and anyone can have something different with it.
Yeah.
That's an awesome comment, Tiff, because, this thing that you touched on earlier, Moira, about the self-worth, so many people just assume or conclude or think the answer is that, oh, well, the reason I don't have money is because I'm not worthy. But that whole comment about, well, it doesn't discriminate. Yeah. There's your proof, ladies and gentlemen. If you need proof, it's what you be that will invite whatever that is that you're asking for in.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
The really frustrating thing is, and I've gone through it, when I did many years of Access, I got so aware that I lost myself for a while. And I was like, wow, there is not enough presence with me and my reality. I haven't created enough of my reality. And I mean, know what's true for me, to ignore the irrelevant shit. I was just like, I thought I was going insane, to be honest. And I was like, that's what, and here's one of the amazing things. We sometimes have to go through enough discomfort and pain, I'll call it, to go, fuck it, I'm choosing something different. And like you were saying, Tiffany, if you're in a level of, if you're like, yeah, I'm comfortable, it's like, I hear your question. Your question is, well, how do I get to desire more? And it's upping your level of caring for you and for soul and for, oh my goodness, Silas, oh my goodness.
That little guy.
Yeah, Silas, yeah. So it's up in your level of caring and receiving. And what I watch and what I went through for a while is there was not enough presence with me. And I watched there's not enough presence with people to know when to use the tools and, oh, okay, now I can use that tool. It's just like somebody gave me the word floater. And it's like, unless we literally start to get present enough and create our realities and look at what's relevant and what's not relevant and become that boom, 500-pound gorilla in the room, boom, this is my reality. You can either come to my reality or you can have your shit, And it's been able to look at other people's energies and maintain the energy and awareness you have, but always looking to see, is there anything else greater? Okay, I'll have that. Ooh, not interested in that. But not to lose yourself in everybody else's reality. So how much have you been enslaved to your culture and your family? So many people that do the How to Become workbook, it's their families. They're not willing to have money because their family will be upset or angry or uncomfortable. So that brings up Destroy and Uncreate It. Right and wrong, good and bad, online, podpoc, shorts, boys, povads and beyonds. It's massive, it's major, and it's insane.
And that concept of choice, because when I first came into Access, I'd very much been brought up, the family, the only thing my father taught me was if you don't have the money, you can't buy it. It's as simple as that. You can't have it. If you haven't got the money, you can't have it. There wasn't, okay, well, how can you get that money? You can have that, but what can you create? What can you choose? Anything's possible. There wasn't that part of the equation. Yeah. So one thing that really tripped my head when I first got into Access was this concept of choosing first and having that tenacity and commitment to your reality and knowing that it's possible, even if it takes you 20 years, that you'll eventually get what it is that you desire. If you don't give up on you, if you don't, let the doubt or I can't afford it or the hopelessness be a priority over your commitment to yourself. Yeah. So it's, you choose Then if you're truly choosing, the money or the ways or the magic will show up for you to actually have that thing. And I remember I've been so fortunate to have many, many conversations with you over the years, Moira. And one that we had in Noosa, and I know I've talked to you about this before, was I said to you, how much is enough money for you per year? And you just went, oh, probably about 20 million a year. And I nearly spat my coffee out. And I'm like, 20 million a year, that'll do me my lifetime. It was just such a big stretch for me. And to you, it was just, 20 million a year. And I said, and you could see it, and you said, well, look at it this way. My house will be this much. My travel will be this much. The boys going to school will be this much. The classes I want to do, and, and the house. And I'm like, my God, 20 million's gone in a heartbeat, because you already knew how you wanted to live. You knew that you wanted to travel a minimum of business and have a nice car, but have beautiful clothes for your body and have a massage, do Pilates, or, go to Costa Rica to do a class. You knew at that stage what it was that it was not negotiable in your world. It's like, well, I'm having this. It's just not, what do you mean I can't have it? It wasn't even in your reality that was not a possibility.
Yeah.
And that
it's having no point of view. I mean, I also had no point of view if it didn't show up either. So you literally have to, when you're asking a question, it's a space of, I'd like that, and there's no significance on it. So I'd like it, and it'll come when it comes, if it comes, but no point of view. Being grateful for what you have. So if you're functioning from, I don't have, or this is, I have less than, blah, blah, then that's what you're going to create. That's the energy, the universal here. I don't have enough.
Yeah, and I think that's the tenacity and the commitment to you, that if you have been used to living a mediocre life or living with a certain amount of money or in a certain situation, but you desire something greater, it is that absolute having your own bag, never quitting, never giving, and never giving up. It's like, I'm having this no matter what it takes. And like you were saying, it's like, I am not living like this. I'm not going to be living in abject poverty for the rest of my life. And look what you've created. It's incredible. Looking at the room behind you, Moira. Here you are now living in Italy. You've lived in the castle. You're the major shareholder of the castle, aren't you? In
not now. I mean, I still have a massive amount of shares, but I'm not the majority shareholder. But that's irrelevant. I chose to be part of the castle from the awareness that I could get. And to be honest, being in business with Gary and Dane, it's like you learn some things. and actually choosing to be part of the castle, I got more awareness from choosing that than I have ever in my life. It was not a comfortable journey when I arrived at the castle, and everything came up. Basically, I had left my relationship of, almost 30 years. And it was the first time, and I would be incredibly grateful to Gary Douglas for inviting me there, because he knew that my ex-husband wouldn't follow me to the castle. But it was a whole many new chapters. It was like not just one book, it was like a whole new, and it was like, whoa, everything came up. And then control came up. Oh, there was everything. So much came up. So, being part of the castle has created a massive amount of awareness for me, and continues to create it. So, the thing is, with the not asking for more, where I got stuck was, so I had a shit ton of money, but didn't have enough of me to enjoy the money. So the thing is, people keep going to the money's the answer. I'll be happy when I get money. I'm going to be so much more comfortable. I don't have to worry about this. I don't have to worry about that. But I wasn't creating, and I was dying. And the How to Become Money workbook is about you stepping into the awareness of you are creativity, you are control, you are allowance, you are everything, So, and that's why a lot of people won't ask, because the belief is, well, I can't create. So I'm not going to ask.
And that's where I see people getting into, defending their limited reality.
Yeah.
So starting to justify, well, I don't need that anyway. I don't really want it. I'm fine how I am, and you were talking before about, desiring and asking for what you would like, the lifestyle, whatever, the money, and also having no point of view if it doesn't show up. And there's a very fine line between having no point of view and where we trick ourselves and get into this defending.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no point of view, and there's this thing where we think we have no point of view, but really we don't believe in ourselves that we can create something different.
Yeah, it's that denial. I don't have any point of view. Really, underneath it, I'm envious of this and I would like that, but I can't because I can't create it. And it's the new process of in access consciousness of points of view that you're avoiding and defending. You're stuck in between a rock and a hard place. You have nowhere to go. So you're avoiding and defending. You can't look at anything. So you basically are in the status quo of where you've always been.
And I think that's where you need to get really vulnerable with yourself and really honest with yourself of, are you really in that space of total allowance and no point of view? Or are there some energies that you're not admitting that you have going on in your world and that you're functioning from that are keeping you in that stuck place?
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of these access consciousness tools and the clearings and processes that we have is we can get ourselves out of those places like with a whole lot of ease, really. It's just really magic.
Here's a key thing to that, Tiff, is you have to be willing to care enough about yourself to use the tools. This is massive. Because I've watched myself now use the tools and I'm like, why am I not using the tools? And I'm like, wow. And my point of view has been, can't be bothered. And that, again, is a lack of presence and awareness of knowing, wow, if you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, things will fall into place. You will start coming together, Start to get all these parts and pieces of yourself that you've avoided and you're defending, like, can't look at that. Oh, it can't be this. And it's like, it does. You start to get more and more of yourself and realize that your energy, everything's energy, and it's manipulative. It's malleable. You can So it's massive. The lack of presence in the world is massive. But anybody who's interested in having them, money ain't going to fix it. But you can have money as it's an extra. When you start to get you, and money comes.
Money's the byproduct.
Yeah, when you start to get you, then you start to allow yourself to ask for more. Yeah.
We've had lots of gratitude come through the Facebook users. Unfortunately, we can't see your names, ladies and gentlemen. If you've joined us, a lot of people, it just says Facebook users. So, lots of gratitude, Moira.
Thank
conversation.
You. Just keep going.
Yeah.
There are times where you think, nah, I can't do this. It's just, I feel like I'm insane. I don't have enough. Keep going. Keep going.
Keep choosing. Just keep choosing. Just keep choosing.
And that caring for you that you talked about, Moira, is huge. And I think especially, everywhere, but, largely in this space of like the ladies' lounge where we do have a lot of ladies who put everything and everyone before them, as a way of not being present with themselves and looking at, what is it that I would really like? And if I could have anything, what would it be? And then choosing that presence with you and that caring for you and your body,
Yeah. That's convenient way to denial, that convenience, I'll put my attention on everybody else. And then that's very convenient because you don't have to be aware of yourself and what you're choosing.
Yeah, and Gary once said to me that, receiving isn't I'll try again. Receiving isn't blocked. You refuse it. You refuse to receive.
Yeah.
And I think this is another one of those major myths. We need to go on Mythbusters with receiving because people think that it's just blocked. It's like, oh, my receiving's blocked. It's like, no, you're
by you
to refuse it. Yeah.
You're the cock block.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gaslighter, my cock block.
Yeah. What a journey moving beyond that it can be, and so much fun and often difficult and uncomfortable, and like you say, if you just keep choosing, everything can change and everything can be different as you choose for it to be. Yeah.
Or
And I
let
think
you get to enough suffering, and then you'll have to choose.
Yeah, exactly. Born into a life of suffering. Yeah. And what if we don't have to create that to have something different? Yeah.
What if you could choose for what brings you joy rather than perpetuates the suffering? Yeah.
But you know, that trauma and drama, it's a great entertainment.
It's not wrong.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. You can choose that if you like. It's all good. Well, thank you so much it's always such a joy having you on and chatting with you and being your presence and being invited to a whole different space. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, Viv.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. And
I can anybody can do it.
And go and feed the birds with blueberries for me.
No, it's lizards.
Lizards. Lizards.
Yeah. It's so funny. And when my front lawn, they get their tails chopped off with a grass cutter, and they still come to the door with no tails. And they're like, "Can I get a blueberry?"
I'm going to need one. I need to grow a new tail back.
Thank you so much, ladies. Awesome conversation. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the Ladies Lounge today. And we will be seeing you next time.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Choose more.